It's Lefty. This is the Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Lefty Show. Triumphant return to YouTube and parts unknown on the internet. I'm glad you are here with me, listening to this video, audio-only podcast, the triumphant return to the Lefty Show. I apologize for the poor graphics, if you're watching on YouTube, that you see on your screen. This is something I just ginned up in Photoshop. I'm clearly not as good as many other people out there doing work regularly. But welcome back, the Lefty Show, ladies and gentlemen. On a brief hiatus, it was away from the game for a minute, but now back in, well, not in black, but back in full force. And this is something I'm going to try to do. I did a video about it on my YouTube channel, obviously, if you're watching it there. This is something I did a video about it, and something I was inspired to do or bring back and make a go of by the Adam Carolla Show, and which is a great show, by the way. Check it out. I sing their praises constantly. This is something I was inspired to do, and doing a more regular type of show, type of podcast, that kind of format, something I've wanted to do. I guess I've had the inklings of wanting to do it for a while, and just listening to the Adam Carolla Show inspired that, and it unearthed it in me. And I've been thinking a lot, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to turn on the mic, I'm going to cook up these crappy graphics, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the show, and because I've got That's Not Why You Called. I'm a co-host on PKA as well. But I felt like there was something lacking. The weekly podcast format, despite being on two podcasts, the weekly podcast format just felt not played. Played is the wrong word, but it felt monotonous. Oddly enough, it felt monotonous. The idea of I build up for a week topics and whatever crappy jokes I can come up with in my head, and I try to hit a home run every single week on either of two podcasts, That's Not Why You Called, or PKA. Hopefully both, right? That's the idea. You want to hit two home runs. I'm hoping to hit 2 home runs a week, which is probably pretty good by Major League Baseball standards. But that's what I'm trying to do. And it felt monotonous. It felt, okay, I wish I had an outlet for some things that I'd like to talk about, because some things just don't fit in the format of That's Not Why You Called. Some things just don't fit on PKA. They just don't. And there are other things that by the time That's Not Why You Called or PKA rolls around, well, they're not hot anymore. They're not hot topics. Or, oh God, hot. And they're not that shitty show, that shitty shop in the mall hot topic either. I mean, we all went there for crappy t-shirts, didn't we? Come on. You know you did. You roll in there once or twice. You saw the ironic t-shirts, the ones that, oh man, that message right there, that's running contrary to what society wants from me. Yeah, $15, whatever. Sam Goody, back in the day, same thing. All their bong-related marijuana t-shirts, Philabong University. But they're not. Some topics just fizzle by the time That's Not Why I Called or PKA rolls around, and sometimes they just get glossed over, and there's not a chance to go back in the next day or the next 2 days and try to cover a topic. I have to wait, 6 or 7 days. And so I figured, hey, I've got the Lefty Show, IP, if you want to call it that, if you want to call it an intellectual property. I've got the Lefty Show lying around, so why not? Here we go. This is what we got. I'm trying a few different things in terms of microphone. I want to get a more in-your-ear sound, again, like the Adam Carolla Show, and to a lesser extent, I think, but still pretty damn good, the Joe Rogan Experience, and I really like that. I really, really do. And even though it'll sound, if you're wearing earbuds, you're not probably going to hear the same thing. But if you're wearing over-the-ear headphones, maybe you'll know what I'm talking about. And so I'm getting a little bit closer to the mic, but still trying to be reserved in my speech, so that hopefully I come through a lot more crisp and clear but not overly forceful, as well as turning up the volume just a little bit. I do have to get some sound absorption material going in my studio. That way that there won't be a slight echo that you hear from bouncing off of hard surfaces, which that's just, that's Studio 101 stuff. So the show will be progressing in both format, in cast, and in sound, and in presentation, and in places you can find it. The show will definitely be progressing from this point forward, just like it did when I originally started it after one of my live streams got knocked offline, way back in 2012, I want to say. And so I will continue to try to change format and bring new things. I want to let bits evolve. If there are going to be any bits, I want to let cast members evolve. I want to let the graphics I can just go to somebody, but I need to I need to pick and choose and find the right thing. And all the things, all the sound, in terms of if there's a new microphone that I can add to the mix, or if if I get all those incredibly stupidly expensive they're not styrofoam, but sound absorption material to create a more studio-like atmosphere. The sound will be evolving. The show will be evolving. And I hope you all stick with the show, stick with me, and I hope you all enjoy the show. This is going to be... Now, here's the thing. I got some things I want to talk about. This isn't just introducing the show, because the show's been around for a while. You guys have seen me in a podcasting/radio format before. You've seen that. So I don't need to introduce it and explain it too much. But for the purposes of this show, this is going to be a more long-form show. This is not meant to be get in and get out and explain your point. I see that a lot. I see that a lot in videos on YouTube, whether they be gameplay commentaries or vlogs of any kind. There's always one or two people, or there's the prevailing thought is that you got to get in, you got to get out. You got to make your point, you got to get out. And that will entice more people to view just by the sheer length of the video. I used to be of that mind. And it will also help you make a better point. And there's definitely something to that. There is. However, I've come around to the idea of long-form content. And I understand that people kind of want to get in and get out. But at the same time, take your Ritalin and just sit for a while. Just take a moment. Whatever you got to do, it's not important. That's something important that I've learned as I've grown older, is that what you think is important, whatever it is, it's not really that important. It's not, it may be important. It may well be important, right? Your wife's pregnant. She's given birth. That's important. But it's not as important, no matter how important it really is, it's not as important probably as you think it is. Because even in the instance where, let's say, your wife is pregnant and she's contracting and going to give birth, you don't have to rush to get to the hospital to meet her, because she's in the hands of healthcare professionals, people that do this for their living. You are way more likely than not going to have a good or bad impact on the birth of that child. It's probably better to just calm down and let the medical professionals do what they're going to do. When you've got a paper due, you've got some assignment due in school, whether it be middle school, high school, college, whatever, it's due. But rushing through it and freaking out over, oh my God, I got to get it done. I got to boom, boom, bam. Got to get over here, zip, zap, zippity doo wop, and do all this stuff. I got to go. I got to get where I'm going faster. This movie's got to be shorter so I can intake my information and go somewhere else and spew it out somewhere else. And when I spew it out, I got to be quick. Just calm down. It's okay. It's going to be okay. And it's better, I've found, to be willing to just take a deep breath and be willing to let something play out. Just let somebody at least in terms of entertainment. Let somebody take you on a journey. Let somebody tell you a story. Let somebody try to entertain you. Let somebody set something up and allow that to happen instead of trying to whittle everything down to the smallest possible consumption size. And then so for the express purpose of, I've got to go do other things. Just calm down. It's okay. So I'm not here to make concise points. I'm not here to tell you what I think in a 5 to 6 minute envelope, just so that you can get my hot take on something and then go on to the next one, or go on to the next thing that somebody's talking about, because I'm sure I'll cover things that other people have as well. So this is going to be a more long-form podcast with long-form thoughts. I want to shoot for 30 minutes, and then expand from there, because right now it's me only flying solo, which is fine. It's totally fine. I can hopefully do it reasonably well. And I can expand from there if the content needs it. I can expand from there if there are bits that I develop that can help pad out a longer show. Or I can expand it if other people join the cast. And that's something that I'm certainly open to, but it would have to be somebody that I think is not worthy is such a shitty word, but somebody that I think would work well with what I'm trying to do. In my mind, now I'm not trying to say that I'm going to push for this. I think Woody's gamertag would be a perfect other side of this show, because first of all, he's got the microphone quality, and second, but this is a pretty big caveat. I think if it were to be a different kind of Woody, not the trying to hit a home run Woody that we get on PKA, not the I've pent up all week and now I'm going to explode all over the show Woody that we get on PKA, which is a great Woody. People love the show. 200,000 viewers weekly. It's amazing. But I think if we get what really helps, honestly, getting closer to the microphone. When you're closer to the microphone and you're conscious of audio quality, you're not going to be screaming. You're not going to be talking that fast. You're going to slow down a little bit. And I think that would offer a different side. So that's something that I would think about. Again, I shouldn't even mention the name, because now people are going to say, oh, I want you on the show. No, it's just that is what I'm thinking of. Somebody who can also kind of unwind a bit from a weekly podcast format and be a little bit more thought out, be a little bit slower to develop a point, and realize that, hey, this is something we do 2, 3, 4 times a week. So there's going to be another chance to go at it. There's going to be another chance to make this point. There's going to be another chance to go through a topic, to go through a line of thinking or a line of questioning. And so it doesn't all have to get covered right now, because unlike a weekly podcast format, well, you got another shot tomorrow. You got another shot in 48 hours. There are plenty more opportunities in a multiple times a week format, which is what I'm shooting for here, than there is in a weekly podcast format. So that's the premise of the revitalization of the Lefty Show. Oh, also audio only, and that was my decision, because I know it would be. I know people talked about Mercadurka when he says, or when he had his Don't Be a Douche podcast, and I believe he would do it and he would just play zombies for 30, 45 minutes and then throw his audio over that gameplay. But I was thinking about it ever since I did that video the other day talking about what I wanted to do with the Lefty Show, and I decided, well, I think audio only is what I want to do with this. For right now, I think audio only is what I want to do. First of all, if I wanted to record it with my brand new DSLR, the shows could only be about 25 minutes long, because that's about only what DSLRs can do, because the components start to overheat, and even from that point, they have to split up the video recordings into 4 gigabyte files. So I would have to start recording, stop, restart, and then pick up right from where I left off. And I think that would not... there's obviously the chance that it would ruin flow on a certain topic, but it's also just a pain in the ass. And it's much better, I think, I want, again, the goal of this podcast is to be a podcast, to be something that you put on possibly in the background and listen to while you do other things, much like a radio show when you're driving or working out or doing something else. And I don't want to make people feel as though they have to watch the screen in order to get what I'm talking about, to get everything that I'm doing. And also, I've found personal, and this is personal, or my personal experience, that when I'm watching, there's a difference between watching a video that has some kind of video feed, whether it be gameplay, whether it be a vlog, whether it be animation, whatever. When there's video in the feed, it's listening to the audio kind of takes a back seat. It does, for me at least. I don't know about any of you, but it does for me. And in that sense, it would undermine, if I'm putting effort into the audio quality of the show, what with microphones, EQ, and I'm not good enough in post to do anything, but sound clips, sound drops, things like that, it would undermine just putting a video feed, whatever it is, gameplay of something, or I don't even know what else it would be on this channel, but I think that adding a video feed is rather arbitrary when it has nothing to, when it would have nothing to do with the show, and a camera feed would kind of take away from what I'm trying to do on the audio side of things. And on top of that, on top of that, video, it takes longer to render. There's a lot of data in video, not so much in audio. This show, this video that you see in front of you, or that trust me, it's there if you're doing something else, is going to render out so much faster than anything else. It's probably going to render out faster than a 10-minute vlog in 1080p that I record, because it's just a simple image in 720, because I don't even care about the resolution, because I care about the audio bitrate. So I can completely knock down the bitrate because it's a static image and just worry about audio, and boom. And the file sizes are going to be much less. The render times are going to be reduced incredibly. And that, from a production standpoint, especially doing multiple times a week, would definitely help in terms of production. So no video, no webcam as of right now. I'm not completely closed off to the idea, but as of right now, it's easier, simplest. Let's just proof of concept this. Let's go audio only, and then we'll go from there. So that's the basis. I've spent the last 18 minutes. That's the basis of the Lefty Show and the revitalization, the reviving, the Lefty Show revival tour. That's what I'm trying to do, and hopefully what you guys enjoy. Now, as far as monetization and crap like that, I don't know. I'm not going to say sponsorships, because I have no idea what kind of viewership this is going to get. No idea. And obviously there will be ads on the YouTube side. That's just a fact of life. I apologize if that upsets you. If there's something that can be worked out with Patreon, I think that's how it's pronounced. Patron. There's an EON at the end there that's just kind of fucking with me, because patron, if I recall correctly, is Patron, patron. But you add an E in there because there's probably a patron.com. So you add an E to kind of still be patron. But do I pronounce it Patreon, or is it patron still? I don't know. But I'm going to call it Patreon, just so everybody knows what I'm talking about. If there's something that can be done there with patreon.com, whether it be, I don't even know, because I want these to appear on YouTube as well. So whether it be, if you're a Patreon, if I create a Patreon and, $3 a month, $4 a month. You get access to the libraries, the audio files as soon as I render them out, and then YouTube comes later or something like that. I'm not sure how to make it work because monetizing an audio only stream with in-video advertisements is rough. It's a rough proposition, but I don't really have an audience anywhere else. Going to Twitch, I don't think Twitch would enjoy this very much, and I don't want to get kicked off Twitch or be told by Twitch to stop doing the show there. So there's many different ways to do it. I know there's Libsyn is what the Adam Carolla show uses. I could probably work out something with that, try to figure it out. But the fact of the matter is that I'm the one paying for the hosting of That's Not Why You Called. And I would also be the one paying for the hosting of the Lefty show. And at some point, I can't host it all. Hosting it all and making sure it's all up and running is, one, a lot of work, and two, can get expensive when we're talking about hosting fees, and now Libsyn I've got to pay to be in the premium section. So I've got to research all that. I know a lot of you out there want to help out, and I greatly do appreciate that. Really do. Thank you very much. So I have to research a lot of things, and for right now, the monetization is just going to be as simple as YouTube ads. And I apologize if you turn on something else and then an ad starts playing. I apologize, but that's just the way it's got to be for right now. Other than that, we'll see. If Patreon becomes a thing, I can throw these up with a pre-roll ad and a post-roll ad, and then bam, Bob's your uncle, or whatever that saying is from over there. Then bam. So that's my monetization plan. We're already 21 minutes into the podcast, and I said I wasn't going to talk about just what my podcasting approach is, but screw it. This is my damn show. It says it on the damn title. It's the Lefty Show, and the image that nobody looks at because, well, they're doing other things because it's audio only. So we got to talk about Donald Sterling. We do. We really do. I hope that's right? I got to go to Deadspin. Let's check that out. It's Donald Sterling. It's got to be. There it is. The NBA, for those of you that don't know, National Basketball Association banned an owner. The owner of the LA Clippers, Donald Sterling, banned him from the NBA association with the NBA or the LA Clippers for life. He's the owner of the team. It's his property, right? He owns it. And the NBA has said, no, you don't. You're gone. You gotta leave no more association with the NBA, no more association with the Clippers, and we are going to force you to sell the team as per our bylaws that we all agreed to. Okay. This is all the result of an audio tape surfacing of Donald Sterling, who is 80 years old, estranged from his wife of so many years. They're still married, but they're doing that whole separated thing, and Donald Sterling says, well, I'm a billionaire, so I'm going to go out and find me some strange. And he's got a girlfriend, V. Stiviano, I believe. And he was recorded speaking to V, his girlfriend, and making some very clearly racist remarks, urging her to not take pictures with black people, black athletes, and posting them on Instagram, not to bring African American friends or boyfriends to. Now the dynamics of that relationship I don't even want to get into, but not to bring black boyfriends, mixed or not. They discussed Matt Kemp, who is of mixed ethnicity. Don't bring him to Clippers games. Don't do it. You can do it, Donald Sterling said on these tapes, but don't be so open about it. Now, the misogyny of the entire tapes, the misogyny displayed by Donald Sterling, I won't touch, and the national media won't touch, but it's there. Like, holy crap, Donald Sterling, many people have likened working for you to working on a plantation if you're black, or I'm saying black. I understand African American, but black is easier, fewer syllables. If you're black, people have likened working, Elgin Baylor says, working for Donald Sterling was like working on a plantation, but you're also treating females as though you own them. We have this open relationship Donald Sterling says, and you can go out, you can bang, suck, fuck whoever you want, but don't take pictures with them and post them on the internet, and don't bring them to public places. Oh, but you, being a female of mixed ethnicity yourself, I believe she's half black, half Latina, or she's a Latina mix. I'm not sure which. I'm going to bring you. It's okay for me to bring you to courtside. It's okay for me to be seen with you in public, take pictures, all those things. But don't bring your black friends to games. Don't take pictures with them and post them on Instagram. And that's something that was just kind of ugh. And but in the tapes, Donald Sterling, for all the things he talked about, tens of minutes of Donald Sterling riffing on his girlfriend for taking pictures with other black people or showing up at Clippers games with black friends, and it came off as very, very racist, and it was. Donald Sterling is a racist. He is. And that's been evidenced, obviously, by the tapes, but what has been evidenced many, many times before. Many times. He and his wife, who own a lot of real estate property, had to pay out millions in a settlement for violating equal housing laws, saying, no, we're not going to rent, we're not going to sell to minorities. And the court said, well, yeah, you are, and if you don't, that's a violation. First of all, it's racist, or that's racism. We'll get to that in a bit. But it's racism and against the law, and you can't do that. You've damaged these people. You've hurt them by doing all this. So you got to pay them, got to help them out. And so Donald Sterling has been kind of the black sheep of the NBA owners for a while. Not many people talked about it. This whole thing is probably going to bring a lot of people into the NBA fray that don't know that Donald Sterling has been outed as a racist and a committer of racism many times before. But here, in this sense, here are audio tapes very clearly displaying Donald Sterling spouting racist remarks, spouting racist rhetoric. And that was too much for the NBA. And NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said, no more. You got to go. You just got to go. Now, for the moment, I don't want to speak on the fact that, you know, the NBA knew this for a while. The NBA has got a litany of scumbag owners that do bad things, that are probably genuinely bad people. Michael Jordan is a bad person. He's just a bad person. He's a bad human. He just is. But he's owning an NBA team. There are many other owners in the NBA who are just do scummy things. People who, if you heard about it in any other context, this businessman did this, you would say, holy shit, you're just a piece of shit. You're just an asshole. You're rich, probably very good in business, but you're just an asshole. And the NBA knew about Donald Sterling specifically, and they knew about Donald Sterling's racism and racism acts, or acts of racism, and racist just outlook for a long time. But they didn't do anything until it became too loud for them to kind of conveniently forget about. Now the hammer came down, and the curmudgeon-y old racist got his comeuppance. And the curmudgeon-y old committer of racism got his comeuppance. And that's good. And that should be revered. The NBA should be revered for that. People should be happy that a committer of racism is going to be put out by this decision. He is going to make a lot of money on the sale of the Clippers, but not as much as he could have, and he's going to go out not on his terms. And that, for somebody who is probably very clearly narcissistic in Donald Sterling, is probably a very, very, very nice punishment. Probably the best that you can have, because you're not going to make Donald Sterling poor. It's just not going to happen. Despite whatever he says, despite how much of a piece of shit he is, you're not going to make Donald Sterling poor. So you can't go down that road. But what you can do is realize, hey, this guy's a narcissist. Everything is about him. He can't even let his girlfriend be in public with black people, with any kind of minorities. Can't do it. So let's make sure he goes out on our terms, not on his. Let's make sure he has to sell the team, and cannot and will not be able to drive a hard bargain, be able to try to shimmy and shake and try to get the best deal he can and set up his family for generations to come, or more generations to come, because he's already liquid to the tune of a couple billion, I believe. And so it's a great punishment. It's great to see a perpetrator of racism brought to some kind of public justice. Not legal justice, but public justice. And okay. But I do have a problem with the NBA's decision. I do. And it's a tough, nuanced point to make, which isn't trying to break my own arm, patting myself on the back, but it is a rather nuanced point, because I could just say, well, a racist got his comeuppance. Good. There we go. Let's, bam, move on. Next topic. But I feel that the way the NBA has gone about this, the way the NBA has talked about this, the way the NBA pundits and the way the national media and local media, all kinds of media, will talk about this issue. Donald Sterling being removed, as being banned from the NBA for life, forced to sell the Lakers, or the Clippers, excuse me. It's an issue. The way that everybody talks about it is an issue for me, because the way that everybody portrays this incident, and indeed probably the way some people look at this incident, is that Donald Sterling got fired for saying racist things in private. And that is a problem to me. That's an issue, because we all know people in the know probably understand that Donald Sterling was banned from the NBA, essentially fired. We're going to say fired from the NBA as an NBA owner, fired as an NBA owner because of his long history of racism and being a general racist. And this was the proverbial straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. No longer could the NBA conveniently deny it. And in some instances, this may have been the chip that the NBA needed. So, finally. Because can you really remove Donald Sterling as an owner? Can you fire him as an owner in the NBA via NBA bylaws if he settled in court because he was sued for violating all kinds of equal housing laws, for not wanting to sell or rent to minorities because of his racist outlook? Can you really remove him from the NBA for that? However, when he is caught on tape while his team, the Clippers, are in the playoffs, and he's making racist remarks not only about other athletes, but one of the frontmen for the NBA currently, Magic Johnson. Now you've got a whole lot to talk about. Now you've got a foot in the door, NBA Commissioner Silver, and now you can leverage the NBA bylaws against him and remove him. And that's how it appears to insiders, but that's not how it's going to be portrayed to the rest of the world. That's not how it's going to be portrayed to people that aren't insiders in the NBA. It's going to be portrayed as Donald Sterling was fired as an NBA owner because of racist remarks he made in private to a confidant. Because if you listen to the tapes, it wasn't Donald Sterling giving a speech. He wasn't in a public place. It wasn't Donald Sterling talking to some guy drunkenly outside of a bar who cornered him and asked him a bunch of questions, and he just went off on racist tangents, which has happened to public figures before. This is Donald Sterling, probably in a property he owns, talking to his romantic confidant. And he had probably no idea that he was being recorded. And that's where voyeurism comes from. You know that you shouldn't be hearing it. You know you shouldn't be seeing what you're seeing, and that adds a realism, and it adds a sense of danger to what you're listening to, what you're consuming. And so we all inherently know that Donald Sterling did not know that he was being recorded, and we all kind of inherently know that that's wrong, which is why we're interested in it so much. But I liken that tape, that conversation Donald Sterling was having with his girlfriend, I liken that to inner thoughts. Because what are inner thoughts if we cannot share them with close confidants? You all have one. Everybody has one. You all have somebody you talk about that is the closest. Even if you pass it in a 1.5 times filter, as opposed to you've got inner thoughts and the things you say in public are passed through a 5 times filter, 5 times bullshit filter. But you all have somebody to whom you talk or speak your ideas that are only passed through maybe a 1 times filter, maybe a 0.5, maybe no filter at all. You all have somebody like that, somebody whom you trust, to whom you relay your inner thoughts, your inner fears, your real view on things. And that is in the same family to me as inner thoughts. And so when we take all that together, when we take the hot sports takes headlines of Donald Sterling fired as NBA owner because of racist remarks that came to light, what you are essentially saying is that Donald Sterling was fired as an NBA owner because of his inner thoughts. And I think that's very dangerous. I think that's very, very dangerous. Now, I have to interject because I know a lot of people are probably misconstruing what I'm going to say here, or what I am saying. I am not defending Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling deserved the punishment that he received today. He deserved it 9 years ago. Bomani Jones appeared on the Dan Le Batard show. Bomani Jones is a much revered writer, sports writer in the United States, and he said that an article he wrote on the racism committed by Donald Sterling 9 years ago, the article was written 9 years ago, received more views in the last 48 hours than it did when it was originally published. Donald Sterling deserved this punishment. He did. He's a racist who commits acts of racism. Now I've been separating those 2 points all show long, so I want to take some time here to talk about my usage of the term racist and racism. A racist has an internal penchant for looking down on people or looking down on people and disliking people and things because of those things inherent to those people. Prejudice. He has inherent prejudice. Internal. I don't like. I don't enjoy. I don't feel good when all these things. When talking about whatever it is, sexuality, gender, race. A racist, when I use the term racist, I am referring to an internal thought process, an internal morality, if you will. When I say racism, I am talking about a racist who then acts outwardly on his racist rhetoric. When racist rhetoric becomes action, it becomes racism. That's how I treat it. I'm not trying to give you brand new definitions. That's just how I treat it. And so, you could say all racism is perpetrated by racists. It has to be, by definition, by my definition, of course, just so you can all understand how I view this. All perpetrators of racism are racists. It's inherent, have to be. However, not all racists commit racism. Now, when you fire Donald Sterling for being a racist, and that's the headline that you put out to people, that's the point of discussion, that is the headline you use to drive page clicks, you are essentially saying Donald Sterling was fired as an NBA owner. Donald Sterling was banned from the NBA, forced to sell his team, his property, his assets because of internal thoughts, because of internal rhetoric. Now, I'm giving the NBA the benefit of the doubt here in assuming that they are not removing him as an owner and forcing him to sell the team strictly because of these tapes. I am giving them the benefit of the doubt in thinking this has been a long time coming. They've wanted for a long, long time to get rid of this guy. And this, what finally gave them the leverage they needed in order to push out this doddering old racist fool who commits racism upon people and is just a general piece of shit. That is what I am assuming is the modus operandi of the, I hope I use that right, is the modus operandi of the NBA right now. If it is true that the NBA removed Donald Sterling or is in the process of removing Donald Sterling simply because of these very clearly internal, very private, racist thoughts, then that's wrong. That's just wrong. That's thought policing. It is. And I know libtards are going to get upset because how dare you question fighting racism, but when you present the story of Donald Sterling being removed from the NBA and you make it just about these racist tapes and these racist remarks, you are arguing that you are thought policing, and that's wrong. And not only is it's not inherently wrong, it's inherently dangerous. It's a dangerous precedent to set. Now, again, I'm not arguing freedom of speech. I'm not arguing First Amendment. We're not talking about this in a legal construct. We're talking about morally and in terms of just society. Because when you say it's great that Donald Sterling was fired, because it is. The guy's a jagoff. A racist racism perpetrator. It's great that he's gone. But when you say it's great that he's gone because of these specific, most recent racist remarks that came to light, that's very dangerous. Because then your ownership of property, your stature in society, how you are viewed, and eventually, make no mistake about it, how the law comes to get your ass, how you are viewed in society, all those things is based upon how people react to your internal views. How people view what you think inside your own head and talk about with your most trusted group of people, with your mother, for me it's my father. When we go get something to eat or have a beer. Or your wife, or your girlfriend. When you relay your innermost thoughts, not broadcast them, not try to send them out to other people and proselytize and change people's minds and tell people how it is. Not that. No. When you are having a private conversation, just with private thoughts, inner thoughts, it's all about how people react to those thoughts. And are those thoughts acceptable by the general public or not? And if they are not, then you can be leveraged to sell your property, to sell assets, or to be attacked and vilified by everybody. Every asshole on the internet with a microphone can come after you. And I think that's a very dangerous precedent to set. And I think it's a very dangerous road to go down. And I would hope, and I hope that people come to understand, and I hope more pundits push harder in telling this entire story, that it's not great that Donald Sterling was removed because of this private conversation. It's great that Donald Sterling was removed because of all this racism that he has committed. Because he's a racist who is not shy about committing racism. That should be the headline. But the headline is Donald Sterling removed for racist thoughts, essentially. And that's dangerous. That's incredibly dangerous to me. And I hope not a lot of people if that does indeed become the message from all this, I hope not a lot of people adhere to it or even listen to it, because to me that's just incredibly dangerous. It's an incredibly dangerous road to go down, and we could very easily wind up in a place where the public is involved in you being a good or not good person a whole lot more than you would want to believe. You are not allowed to think things anymore. You are not allowed to believe what you want to believe anymore on the inside, and that's scary to me. Now, I want to talk about, as we close out the show, something that in my announcement video of the Lefty Show, the revival tour of the Lefty Show, I had an in-stream advertisement. It was paid for by Fan La La, whoever the fuck that is, and it was I did not monetize the video itself. There were no pre-roll or post-roll ads, and but when the campaign does shut down, I will put advertisements back on the video. But there was a good amount of people that apparently just, it's great because when you make a video, when you make an advertisement in stream, when you make an advertisement inherent to the video, not a pre, mid, or post-roll ad like on YouTube, but when you make an advertisement, let's say a read of some kind, this video brought to you by blah, 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 this segment brought to you by this, I hope one day to be able to do on this show, this segment of the Lefty Show brought to you by DollarShaveClub.com, brought to you by NVIDIA, brought to you by Intel, brought to you by Pepsi, Coca-Cola, because I actually do drink both. I hope to one day have that. But what you do is you circumvent ad block. And it's a great way to out people as ad block users. And then when people become irreverent about their ad block usage, I use ad block for a reason. Ugh. It makes it really easy to say, okay. So you're fine partaking of my free content and listening to it and consuming it, but you're not okay with kind of the quid pro quo of that being, or I guess that would be pro quo of that being a little bit of advertisement thrown your way. Listen to it or not. I'm not holding a gun to your head. I'm not making you pay a toll to view my videos. But somebody gets a chance to slew their product at you or sling their product at you. And they hope that their content or their product or their pitch is good enough to get you to buy their product or partake of their service. And if it's not, well, then you just say no. But no, that's too much for you. That's too much for you there, big stroker. You say none of that. You say, you damn black for a reason. Well, then fuck you. You are the reason that sites like Destructoid are barely sustainable. You are the reason sites like Reddit have to beg people to buy gold, to buy Reddit Gold, which is essentially just a subscription to Reddit. Why they have to beg for it. And keep in mind, sites like Reddit, there are many sites that don't have intrusive advertising. And no, viewers of internet content, you do not get to choose what is and is not intrusive. You don't. Because there's a very clear line, intrusive, not intrusive. Banner ads on the side, you do not get to say, well, I'm okay with this amount of advertising, but not that. No. You have to place trust in the site that they will not cross that line. You have to say, your agreement, your contract, my terms, or your price, my terms. Okay, that's forming a contract. If I want to form a contract with somebody, they say I want it for $500. I want this cup of water for $500. I say, okay. Well, I'm going to pay you $1 a week. That's all. $1 a week. And I get to pay it off in that sense. And they say, no. Well, then no to your price. You name the price, I name the terms. Your terms, viewers of content, is free content. You say, I want this content. I want it. And the sites or video producers say, okay, well, the terms are, or the price is, however it makes this metaphor make sense, is you watch advertising. And if that advertising is too much for you, don't block the ads and continue to consume the content. And don't get pissed off when sites like Destructoid say this review brought to you by Gamma Labs, or I say this video brought to you by Fan La La. Don't get pissed off when that happens. Don't watch the shit anymore. It's really indicative of, I think, a general problem with society, and it's not a generational thing. It's not an entitled young kids thing. No. It's just human nature. Something for nothing. Since money was fucking invented, people have wanted something for nothing. I want the most content, the most product, the most service for the lowest price. No matter what. Bottom dollar. Top quantity, bottom dollar. That's what I want. And as that has progressed and gotten applied to different mediums, we see different things. We see people, all of a sudden TiVo becomes a thing. And now nobody watches commercials anymore. And cable providers or cable channels and broadcasters have to adapt and find different ways. They say, okay, well, we're going to run more advertisements to make money off of people. The people that do watch advertisements don't have TiVo. Or we're going to run the same amount of ads and we're going to use product placement. Or when the first fucking downline is sponsored. Why? Because people have TiVo. In part because people have TiVo. Now, of course, equal parts greed as well. Because there's the other side. I want to give you the least amount of product, the least amount of content, the least amount of service for the most money. And the idea is supposed to be, well, everybody doing that equally, we kind of arrive at a fairish place. But what we see in terms of people using TiVo, or what we see when applied on the internet and consuming content, people running ad block, is we see people trying to circumvent that and trying to have their cake and eat it too. And so the ads are going to be there. My content is in some way going to be monetized. I don't know how yet, but when only 38% of my total views are monetizable, not monetized, monetizable. That means you may see an ad when only 38% because of not equal parts, because of parts mobile, which is fine. That's a beef between me and YouTube, not you. No problem. But also ad block. And when that's a thing, well, then guess what's going to happen a lot more? This video brought to you by. This segment brought to you by. And you know what? Assholes can fuck right off if they say, well, I didn't like that. That I had some motherfucker, some asshole, told me, less than two shits and a dog fuck about who this cocksucker really is, said, I found this advertisement offensive. He said offensive. Used it. I have to assume that he understands the word. And it's just, you motherfucker. You are such a ball breaker. You are such an asshole that you very clearly use ad block. And then you are so pissed off when somebody finds a way to uncircumvent the process that you have rigged. I'm offended. It's offensive. Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass, you don't like it. It's my house. So, content is going to be monetized. Every podcasts are monetized. Adam Carolla, Joe Rogan Experience. Podcasts are monetized. I saw Kevin Pollak, of all people, has a podcast on iTunes. I might actually check it out because I do like Kevin Pollak. He was great in A Few Good Men. Fantastic film, and he was great in it. I'm sure that's monetized in some way. My content, my podcast, is going to be monetized somehow. That's not why he called is monetized. Painkiller Already is monetized. This is going to be monetized, just like everything. And that's just the way it's going to be. And I'm going to try to be fair about it. Now at that point, people have to trust in the content creators. I trust Adam Carolla, and as many people do, I trust Adam Carolla and Joe Rogan that they are not going to overdo it. I say, okay, all right, I'm going to listen to your advertisements. I actually might check out one of the website making services that Joe Rogan pimps. I might actually check one of them out and say, okay, I'm gonna listen to these advertisements and I'm gonna give them an honest listen. I'm going to trust you that you're not going to overdo it. And what is that overdoing point? It's not what I want. It's not what you want. It's what's reasonable. Who determines reasonable? Well, that's a topic for another show. It's called a tease in the business, kids. And so you guys people are going to have to trust me that I'm not going to overdo it. That I am not going to try to hurt you is the wrong word, or hurt is the wrong word, that I'm not going to be unreasonable about it. And I would hope that if you are coming to me regularly, whether it be to watch my videos or listen to what I have to say on any given topic, I would hope that you would trust me to be reasonable. Not inherently, but if you don't trust me to some extent to be reasonable, what the fuck are you doing watching my videos? What the fuck are you doing helping me out by giving me viewership, by circulating my content in whatever way? So you've got to, there has to be an element of trust in the entertainment world, and at least in this little corner of entertainment, where I'm going to listen to your content and give your advertisers a fair shake and maybe buy their products. Not that you have to, but I'm going to allow myself to be advertised to. I'm going to allow that to happen. When you go to a supermarket, do you get pissed off at the supermarket when Coca-Cola or Pepsi is on top of the soda racks, or in the middle or on the bottom, or when Coca-Cola is at the front of the aisle near the front of the store versus at the back? Do you get pissed off at them for that? It's advertisement. It's what it is. Do you get angry at that? Do you feel like you were used? Like they were unreasonable? Is that unreasonable? No, it's advertising. So you're going to allow yourselves to be advertised to, and you're going to, and we all allow ourselves to be advertised to, me included, because I listen to advertisements. I don't install ad block, and I won't. We are all going to have to try to trust that everybody else is going to be reasonable about it. Are there people that are unreasonable about it? Of fucking course there are. Of course there are. Many people unreasonable about it. In both directions. Some people are unreasonable about it in the obvious ways. Too many advertisements, too intrusive, too much in your face for what they're giving you. Of course. But then there are people in the other direction who are way too unreasonable about it in terms of trying to protect people or service the entitlement of other people. Now, entitlement, again, not generational. It's just human beings. We are selfish motherfuckers. That's just what we are. And Reddit is a perfect example. Reddit could monetize the shit out of Reddit. Oh my goodness. If you perfect right here, we're going to develop a standalone Reddit app, and if you buy Reddit Gold, bam, you get access to the standalone Reddit app, and it's going to be the greatest motherfucking app out there for Reddit. Bam. But they don't. We're going to put 3 banner advertisements on, or sidebar advertisements on Reddit. And it's going to be open to whatever. And you're just going to have to deal with it. They could, but they don't. And I would say 2 or 3, not unreasonable, because there's no other way to really monetize it. And so you have to trust, we all do. Everybody has to trust that everybody else is going to be reasonable. And is that trust in and of itself unreasonable? Well, if you believe it is, why are you trying to partake of or consume the content in the first place? If you believe that I'm unreasonable, if you think that Reddit's monetization is unreasonable, if you believe Twitter's monetization is unreasonable, or cable unreasonable, why are you trying to consume the content? Or trying to find, why are you not trying to find another way to consume the content and give somebody what you believe is a reasonable, if you both agree this is a reasonable price for this? That's why I pay for Cosmos. I pay to watch something that's broadcast for free all over the country in the United States. Cosmos, the series on Fox, Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's amazing. Check it out. So cool. I pay to watch that on Amazon because I tried to watch it on Fox's website for free, but I found there were, I believe for about 42 minutes of content, there were 6 ad breaks, each of which were about a minute and a half on their website. Minute and a half of ads. And I said, no, that's unreasonable. And when I saw that it was on, and I refused, again, I don't install ad block, I don't run it, and I don't torrent things anymore. Come on, fucking Napster in the day. Come on. But when I saw it on Amazon for a price, I made sure it was ad-free, and I said, okay, I will do this. I will pay for this content so that I do not have to sit through advertisements. And I'll pay for it. And I do, and I'm totally cool with it. And I feel that that's reasonable. And I would hope, especially because Amazon or Fox via Amazon made the price of the episode, I would hope that they find it reasonable as well. So it's all about being reasonable to each other, people. And if you think somebody else is being unreasonable, go away. Don't give them business. It's just that simple. If you think Donald Sterling, if we assume for a moment that Donald Sterling never acted on his racist tendencies, never acted on his racist outlook, never committed an act of racism, if we stipulate to that for a moment, Donald Sterling is still a racist. He should not have been removed from the NBA and from ownership strictly because of that. Now, again, the bylaws and all that stuff notwithstanding, just in a strictly moral, ethical sense, I don't believe that he should have been punished for what he does, what he thinks, and what he believes internally and in private, because that's nobody's business but his own. And as long as he doesn't act on it, what are you going to punish him for? Because when you do punish him for his racist rhetoric or racist internal morality, what are you doing other than thought policing? Other than saying, no, you can't think that, and we're going to punish you for it. And so, if you believe Donald Sterling's racist thoughts, racist internal morality to be wrong, don't try to petition him again in this thought experiment. Don't remove him from the NBA. Don't populate his stadium. Don't go to watch the Clippers. Blake Griffin is great, but don't watch him. Say, not going to support that. I'm just not. And eventually, Donald Sterling will go away if enough people do that. Now you've got to get into, well, do enough people have the guts? Are there other factors that are oppressing people or suppressing the outcry from people that would suppress this or that, or that would make, again, now we get into why are you actively forcing owners of property to sell possibly to people whom they don't like? And that's because everybody needs a place to live. And if we allowed people to act solely on their internal morality and not sell to people they didn't like, well, then there would be a whole lot of people who would have a really stupidly tough time finding a place to live. And that would be unreasonable. And so now you say, no, you cannot discriminate when giving out housing, Donald Sterling. Now, Donald Sterling did that, which is why he's a piece of shit, which is why he is no longer, or for a very short time, going to be the owner of the LA Clippers. He's got 80 years. He's 80 years old. We'll see how long he lasts. So this has been the Lefty Show. We're over an hour. I originally said I'm going to shoot for 30 minutes, and I just yammered for an hour. I don't know how many people listened. I don't know how many people gave all of my points. Well, of course, what I would say are their due attention. But I hope some of you did, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed the format, the video, the audio only format. I mean, there is video, right? But come on, let's not split that hair. I hope you guys enjoyed it. and I certainly enjoyed recording it. I'm going to try to do this multiple times a week. I haven't decided on a format or scheduling yet. I'm going to continue to think about that. I appreciate everybody that's stuck with the show this long, if you have, and I'm really excited to do this, and I hope you stick around. And the show's going to be growing, of course, from where it is now. There's going to be a lot of things changing from here to weeks, months, perhaps years on into the future. There's going to be a lot of changes, but I hope you'll stick with me through those changes and stick with the show as it grows, because I think this was a lot of fun for me, and I hope it was really enjoyable for a lot of you, and I hope to entertain you as much as I can for the foreseeable future. So this has been the Lefty Show. Be sure to hit that like button if you have not already. Subscribe, youtube.com/LeftyOX. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.